Welcome to the sixth edition of the Vote 23 that helps you to compare and contrast between the three leading presidential aspirants. This week, we are going to be looking at the family of each of the candidates and their diplomacy at handling issues, at responding to issues, especially in the public. Just in case you're worried or you're bothered, you can ask yourself, what is our business about the family of who rules this country? It is our business. The moment you offer yourself for a public office, you become a public material. You deserve to scrutinize and know where you're coming from. There is a proverb that says, show me your friend and I know who you are. And of course, in a lot of places, they say, which family does he come from or does she come from? They are concerned, importantly concerned, about their immediate family. How are they managing it? Or of what interest do they have in government? How much do they cling to government issues? And of course, you will not tell me that if somebody's child or children is sick, it will not affect your concentration at work. No. It will. The happiness of the family will go a long way to affect the performance of who becomes our president. So you're welcome to this episode, another set of dramas this week. It seems more to still be in Lagos, and that is where drivers have gone on strike. Are you surprised? You should not be surprised because there is the union of drivers. And one, he's locked with Muslim MC Oluomo. And of course, everybody knows MC Oluomo is Tinubu's associate or boy or pally or whatever. In fact, some says he's Tinubu's talk. So whichever is, the association or the driver union has suspended him, and Lagos State government replied or acted at about the same time by appointing him a head of what they call parks committee that oversees all the motor parks in Lagos. I said trouble was coming. Now, if you have been following events, I think there have been killings in 1 or 2, 3 places in Lagos, and finally the drivers are complaining that the Agberos, the touts, are harassing them. There was a report that also broke out 2 weeks ago to last week that they were selling stickers, forcefully selling stickers that carries Tinubu's pictures and name, asking people to vote for him, to these drivers, 500 or more, and so on like that. And then the driver said, no, they are not buying. And so there has been reactions, and they eventually went on strike. I have forgiven Osibajo. That's Baba Tinubu, Baba. It is insulting and provocative for you to say you have forgiven Osibajo. That is the Osibajo movement reacting to Tinubu over that statement. My question is, could it be why Osibajo is excluded from the APC National Campaign Committee? Could it be why his people are excluded? We need to know. And then we ask ourselves, so that means since the conclusion of the primaries, Tinubu has not forgiven, in quote, Osibajo. Well, these things have been in and out. President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, off to London for medical treatment again. Well, we wish the president well. But this is what we don't want to go into in 2023. And that's why we're insisting that no sick person should come near the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria again. Those of you asking whether they are fighting wrestling in that office or they are lifting boots or laborer's job, you can now see your brain is actively needed. Peter Obi, Labour Party, one wife. And he has 2 children, and they are grown up now. One is married, the other one who is a boy. I'm not sure if he's married. We can't get that record. The female one is Gabriela, and the male is Osemaka. The wife's name is Margaret Brownson One. And Peter Obi said that he's not running a family business, that the business he ran initially that has to do with family was next, that you can see Port Harcourt in Abuja, and he has since left it. We try to find out if Gabriela or Semeka are interested in politics or have been holding any position in politics. At least Peter Obi has been a governor. He has the right, like others too, to have made his children aware of something somewhere. So, but there is no record that Peter Obi has appointed or supported the appointment or facilitated an appointment for any of his two children, Gabriela and Osemeka. So, to that extent, we can convincingly tell you that sometimes ago, yes, there was a rumor that the wedding of Peter Obi and Brownson was heading for the rock. And the wife screamed out and said, no, no, it is evil for anybody to think that we are fine and we don't have problems. So Peter Obi can be ticked how very still home. Kudos to the obedient and kudos to the Labour Party presidential candidate. How diplomatic is Peter Obi? Yeah, we have tried to find out some things, and we just found that it's like the APC has been looking for Peter Obi's trouble virtually every time. For instance, Tinubu was said to have said some people will labor to death, and this got the Obis very mad. And of course, another time, Omatse wrote an article that was published and described the Obis as obituaries. And of course, they reacted as well. But even in the response of Peter, the obedience are all fires open, went for nuclear weapon, everything, caterpillar, bulldoze APC. But Peter Obi, in his own response to laboring to death, said and prayed Nigerians would eat their fruit. He prayed. Of course, there is a chance that is another pastor in the making. We are aware too that Peter Obi has once taken on Tinubu on his health, and he feels that that's not good enough for him to run for the office of the president of Nigeria. There was a time Peter Obi really got mad at Tinubu, and he was like, why are you attaching my presidential bid to Biafra? Why are you connecting both? Because they are not related. And that was about the only instance that Peter seemed to have fired the South. There was a claim that Nana Akufo, the president of Ghana, wrote a letter to Tinubu asking him to support Peter Obi, which Ononuga came out and said, no, that Nana has denied it, that he didn't say that. But neither of Nana wrote or not. So where they lifted the story from, we don't know. We don't seem to have any crossfiring between Peter Obi Labour's Party and the PDP. The also could have attached right now is the issue between him and Tinubu, and of course that came to Obi Fora. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar Trakin Adama, GCN, the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the PDP presidential candidate, is married to 4 wives. And some records said 28 children, another record said 30. Now, his first wife was married to him in 1971, and that is Titi Abubakar, who is from Oshun, Elisha precisely. He's married to another Fatima, then he's married to another Rukayat. So we have Rukayat, we have Fatima, we have Titi, and we have Jamila and Jamila Jennifer. So those are his wives. And of course, why is he a polygamist? Well, he's a Muslim. I think it's allowed radically with conditions there. But Elijah Abubakar was very, very quick to tell everybody, and that is the truth that we have found out. He's the only child of his parents. So he says, and I quote in his book, My Life, I am lonely. Like you don't want your lineage to go off. You don't want your lineage to be wiped off, sort of. So if he is the only child, then he believes he should have as many children as possible to populate the Abubakar dynasty. Okay, Baba is enjoying Sha. The Hausa people will say Atiku Inaji that day. Kuba Hakabani to Akane. And he's one of them who seem to be taken into politics. And she is a medical doctor. As at 2017 was 45 years of age. And that was when Atiku left the APC to return to PDP. She was a commissioner for health in Adamawa State, but she did not deflect. She didn't leave the APC to follow her father then. I don't know if she has done that now. So she was the commissioner for health, or is a commissioner for health as at then in Adamawa State. And yeah, we'll show it to you. Some of these things are flying on your screens. So that is all we have. Or the other children of Atiku, we don't have traces. Then there was a place Atiku addressed everybody and said, I don't believe in Japa. That means he doesn't believe in running out of the country. Of course, he has the money to do that. But he said all his children, he has made sure they are schooling here, one way or the other. And that is one of the reasons why he has brought one of the best, if not the best educational institution into Nigeria. That's talking about the American Atiku Abubakar University. One very obvious time that Atiku hit on Tinubu, and that was when he said Tinubu's aspiration is an insult to the black race. That was hot. He fired at the APC. And the other one we can trace is we don't need the Igbo president or Yoruba president, but a pan-Nigerian president. Of course, it wasn't an insult. He only came short of saying an Hausa president, but by the word pan, he covered up for that. So diplomatically, we want to say here that Atiku Abubakar is doing well, just like Peter Obi is doing well in the front of diplomacy. So now to the APC presidential candidate Ajibola Ahmed Tinubu, popularly known as that. He is married to Remi Tinubu, a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. She went into the Senate in 2015 and she's still in the Senate as we speak. We have records of 4 children. Folashade is presently the Iyaloja General of Lagos State. By implication, every market in Lagos State is under her, said to have been influenced by the power that be in Lagos State. Indirectly, she survived her late grandmother, Abibatu Magaji Tinubu, who was also the Iyaloja of Lagos. But she seems to have extended her coast so much that she had a case, Ikeja, especially the computer village, who took her to court over the levies that she was charging them, and they said it's arbitrary. And they won in the court, and the court ordered that Folashade Tinubu should stop henceforth collecting any money from these people. And of course, from our records too, there seems to be an unsettled home. There is an issue around that because according to claim, the lady's age is 62. And if you look at the claim of Tinubu that she's 70, that was when people were asking questions that how could you give birth to a child when you were 8 years? Meaning that Tinubu's age is questionable by these statistics. Then we have Jide Tinubu, who is late. Jide Tinubu was sometimes chairman Lagos State Public Commission or something like that for sport. And we say, Jide Tinubu, please rest in peace. There is no way Remy could have given birth to a 62-year-old lady. So Tinubu probably have baby mamas outside, probably who gave children to him. Then probably trace Abibat Tinubu and she Tinubu to Tinubu as children that came from Remy Tinubu. That's the background. And the Alpha Beta issue about toll gate of the NSAS crisis, then he's believed to be managed by Tinubu's children. And that, of course, approved for them by Lagos State government. So that is the second child that we can trace to Tinubu that has connection with government. And of course, there is also some arrested property that is owned. We will see it on your screen now. Yes, the boy's name is there as the managing director. Yes, yes. So, and it is believed that they are into estate development, which of course Lagos State is giving them some contracts, and that they were acquiring some land as well. So Abad Magaji is politically inclined. Tinubu remains politically inclined into government patronages, the same into government patronage, then Folashade to now Sheyi, and those are the records we have. So let's go to diplomacy now, and then we'll just call it a day. I wonder why PDP still exists. That is still firing at PDP. 2, we labor to death. That is still the poisoned Holy Communion water. That is Tinubu. And I think we can also remember the feeding of the youths that will be recruited, whether into army or whatever camp, and be fed with cassava and corn, which of course led him another title, Baba Alangbado. So I think Baba is being a bit of a rough rider when it comes to. Then, of course, we remember the shut up. Tell anybody who says anything in this episode that I cannot contest or I'm not going to shut up. So you shut up at all. Anyway, you are actually shutting up and listening. So shut up. So this has brought Tinubu to the middle of storm. If he's not fighting Labour Party today, he's fighting PDP tomorrow, or they are fighting him. So diplomatically, Baba has not been finding it funny. And I think the defenders, the speakers, or the spokesperson really need to do. In fact, there was a time, I wouldn't know who said that they have asked him to stay on written speech. I don't know why you want a presidential material to stay on a written speech. I don't understand. There's something I will not take away from Tinubu, really, which is what I don't know what's wrong with him. Tinubu is vocal. Yes, go back to the days he was in the Senate. Go back to when he was a governor. So that's why I am personally of the opinion that health actually reduces performance and affects responses to issues. Will be our president, should drive us into war because of his or her speeches or response to attacks. How do you manage people around you? Because this president, whoever becomes a president, will be addressing nations, will be addressing people. And what he says, how he says it, when he says it, is going to count on things that will happen to Nigeria. The Yorubas will say, Isoro, me, Igbesi. That is, the way you speak determines how you are answered. And another proverb says, Oroluma fa ubiyo, lapu abiko fa oko. That is, good words bring out cola, and harsh words bring out sword.